Ha! You yelled as you threw open your door/window. Shiggy was already hiding behind a plant. Oh, I guess he's not here. Maybe in the bookcase. You faked and you bought it. Then you whipped around and picked up the plant. Shiggy screamed. But then he gave up. What, 63 to 18? You smirked and Shiggy grumbled. You laughed and went back inside. You decided to work on your wall mural of what you called the floating lights because you didn't know what they actually were. Today I'm gonna ask her, you said, looking at your wall. Shiggy sighed and you hopped down. But as soon as you did, you heard your mom's voice. Emmy Fukukado, Miss Joke. Your loved and trusted mother called for you to let down your freakishly long hair to help her get into the tower. You did the normal hair elevator routine and tugged until you saw turquoise hair pop up. Hi, darling, she said as she got herself inside. Hi, Mom. You mumbled a bit. What's wrong? You're quiet. Emmy said. Oh, sorry. You said it, and she smiled, brushing it off. You looked at Shiggy before she turned to you in the mirror. Shiggy sighed once more and shook his head. Oh, look! I see a pretty young person. Emmy said, hugging you from behind, and you smiled and blushed. Oh yeah, and you're there too. She followed up and your smile dropped. She saw this. I kid, you know that. She smiled and went to her basket to take the stuff out of it. You looked to Shiggy again and you made a go on motion. You took a deep breath and asked, so your birthday is coming up and I wanted to know what you cut her off. Hey, Mom? Yes? Can I go outside? Her eyes widened a bit at this. Now, why would you want to go out there where there's beasts and plants and big ugly men out to get you? She asked, being dramatic on the three things. You flinched at them. You can't go outside, but what else would you want? She asked. Maybe some of those really nice paints? You sighed after a while. Those? Well, I guess I can get them, but it'll take me at least 3 days. She said. You made the pouty face that worked nearly every time. Oh, all right. She smiled and left to go get your paints. Come on, you lazy-ass blonde bastard. Bakugo whispered, yelled, while him and Aizawa were lowering Toga down into the crown room. Yeah. Wait, aren't you a blonde bastard too? She questioned back and smirked at the now pissed-off Pomeranian. Will you two just shut up and get the damn thing already? Aizawa inserted his 2 cents. Ugh, they both said. When she got it, there was a sneeze. Oofers. May I suggest a tissue? She said. Yeah, that might be a good... Hey! The guard yelled once his brain cell processed what was in front of him. Bye! She waved, and the other two pulled her up. And now we run, Toga said when she got her footing. Don't think we know that, dipshit. Bakugo said and was about to pick her up by the collar, but instead both got picked up by Aizawa and thrown off into the path in which they came. Once they shook the guards and the strange-looking horse, Toga checked the bag that had the crown, and it was still in there, which was good. They were in a patch of forest that had not a lot, but a few wanted posters. Toga noticed one and ripped it off the tree. "They got my hair wrong!" She yelled, and Baki fell over cackling. "Shut up, you overgrown hedgehog!" She shot. "What?" He growled and got up. "Shut it, both of you," Aizawa said, and all of them heard some shuffling. They whipped around and saw the guards heading towards them. They practically went on autopilot and started running into the forest. They got to a rock edge, and the guards were getting closer. Help me up," Toga ordered the two. They did and looked back. "All right, now help us." She thought about it for a second, but then smirked. She backed up, and when she was sure that they couldn't see her, she ran. "Hey!" they yelled. She laughed to herself and nearly fell over when the strange horse was in her face. "You," she said, and the horse huffed back in response. So, after the whole fighting with the equine over the bag and falling off the branch and finding a cave to which to hide in, Toga walked down and saw your tower when she moved the vines out of the way. That looks like a good place to hide. She mumbled and walked up to it. She found 2 arrows on the ground and started climbing it. She got inside and pulled out the crown. Alone at last. She was cut off by a bang with a frying pan to her head. You squeaked. You picked up the body and shoved it into the closet. Holy shit. There is a person in my closet. There is a whole ass person in my closet. You yelled, grabbing your hair. Shiggy looked from you to the closet and back again, and then squeaked. Holy fuck, you're right. What is Mom gonna say when she finds out? You know what? She's not gonna find out. You said, and heard your mom's voice calling for you. What is with that lady and timing? You thought. You went and let her up. Hi, darling. Sorry I'm back so early. I figured you needed food. She laughed. Yeah, pretty hungry. You said, looking from Shiggy to the closet to Emmy between every word. She dropped off the stuff and told you how to make what she had in mind, and then left to go get your paints that you totally forgot about it, because there was a body in your closet. You had tied the blonde-haired person to a chair in the middle of the foyer. With your hair. Nice. You were armed with your frying pan and circling them just in case this person woke up and tried to escape. And just your luck, she did, and you swung the frying pan again and knocked her out. She just looked at you from your shoulder. What? It was a reflex. You nervously laughed. He sighed for the millionth time and shook his head. About 10 minutes later, you decided that you should wake this girl up before Emmy came back. You looked at the chameleon and he saluted, already knowing what to do. He tried 3 methods until he tried that one. Toga woke up with a yell. Ew! She yelled and rubbed her ear with her shoulder. Stupid lizard! He's not a lizard. You said, looking at her, and she snapped her head up. And then she noticed what she was tied up with. Is this hair? She said, looking around. Yep, my hair. Did you come to steal it? You questioned back and put the frying pan under her chin. Okay, look, princess. Why would I want your long-ass hair that I'd have absolutely no idea what to do with? That gave you an oh moment. Wait, where's my bag? She looked around again. I hid it where you'll never can find it. You smirked. It's in that vase. She deadpanned. You knocked her out again to move it. Once you did move it, Shiggy woke her up again. When will you stop fucking doing that, you damn lizard? She said, rubbing her ear again. I told you he's not a lizard. You said, climbing up to your mural. Once you did get up there, you tugged to make Toga look at you. But she fell over. So you tugged again and got her up. What's that? She asked when you pulled back the curtain. These are the floating lights, and they only show up on my birthday. You dropped and sat down on the ledge. Okay, and she deadpanned again. Take me to these and I'll give you back your bag. You shot. I have a better deal. Let me go and give me the bag and you'll never have to see me again. That's a pretty good plan if you ask me. She tried. You just glared at her. Fine. Now let me out. She wiggled. One condition. You said, standing up. Oh my... What? She groaned. You have to take me and then bring me back. You said, hopping to the ground. Why? Because my mom would get mad. Who cares about... Never mind, fine, just let me go. She complied, wiggling again. You squealed and let her out of the chair. Toga was already outside and on the ground. You peeked your head out, but then went back in. Shiggy was on your head, holding on for dear life. I haven't jumped yet, you said, laughing. He just put his head down as if to tell you to just jump and get it over with. You hooked up your hair and jumped. You kept falling until about a foot from the ground. You stopped and looked at the grass. Shiggy was shaking a bit, but looked too. You reached your foot out and stood. Toga just smiled as you ran around like a 3-year-old. Every once in a while, you would second guess yourself about going into the tower and getting caught. And then it got to the point where Toga was just staring at you, flop down face first in the grass. But then you got back up and then forgot about stuff. Then, when you were doing the fear got to you again, and you sat down and cried. Okay, so it seems to me that things are weird between your feelings and overprotective mom. But it's good to get out every once in a while. Toga reassured you while flicking Shiggy off her shoulder. Would this break your heart? Would this break her heart and maybe crush her soul? Probably. She shrugged. Crush? You whimpered. Like a grape. She deadpanned for what you thought was the third time. But that's not the point. The point is about you. So I've got an idea. She dropped down beside you. You looked at her. I know a place where we can hang out with some friends. She smirked. The Ugly Duckling. Toga said. You two were in front of a kind of rundown bar. That's us, Snuggly, you said, looking at the sign. Potato, potato. Go on. She had to push you inside, and then all eyes were on the two of you. Especially your hair that was in a bundle in your arms. Sup, fellas? Toga said. All of a sudden, she was being held up against the wall by a dude with spiky red hair and sharp teeth. You've got some guts to show your face back in here, he said, and Toga was acting like nothing was wrong. Hello to you two, she said, and everyone growled at her. And who's this? A girl with pink hair behind the bar said. Introduce yourself. Toga encouraged. Wander? And what brings you here with her, of all people, Wander? Another girl with brown hair and pink cheeks asked, glaring at Toga but then smiling sweetly at you. Well, I kinda sorta have a dream, you said a bit louder than before. Ah, shit, they said the word, a dude with black hair said. A dream, you say? Red hair said as he dropped Toga. I'm Kirishima. And what might your dream be? He asked, walking to the back. Well, I really want to see the floating lights for my birthday. You explained, and he smiled. I really want to play for the king and queen someday, he said. Play? Piano, he stated. Sato wants to bake with the good stuff, he said, looking at a really tall, muscular person with a helmet. Mina wants to be a street performer. Mina laughed from her station. Midoriya wants to be a knight, Mina said, looking over to a boy with green hair. He just stuttered and blushed. You smiled, but then thought of something. What's your dream, Toga? You asked, and everyone looked at her expectantly. I really, really want... Everyone looked at her. Lots of money and to be left alone. There was now a ring of knives around her head. This is why we told you not to come back with your bullshit, Sarah and Kiri said. She only shrugged. Someone then burst through the door about 30 seconds later. Denki? The girl said. Horse. Guards. Angry. Here. he said in between breaths. Oh, shoot, Toga said. And of course they're after you. Uraraka spat. She just laughed nervously. Junkie held into the chute, Kiri said. The what? He said. You'll see, Denki winked. Just before the guards came through the door, Denki grabbed you and Toga and dived behind the bar. You peeked your head out just a little bit so you could see the guard in the front. He had red and white hair and bicolored eyes with a scar over his left eye. Where is she? He demanded, and then two other guards pushed two guys up. One had ash blonde spiky hair, and the other one had long dark black hair. Okay, I guess you two should go now, he said. Thanks, Denki, he said as he pulled the lever. Go live your dream, he said. Oh, I thank you, Toga perked. Not you. Denki quickly followed up as he pushed her in. You laughed and smiled at Denki one last time before going after her. But before the hatch closed all the way, the two of you heard footsteps. Outside, Emmy had come to the bar and watched what had happened from the window. But what she didn't know was that a little short man was coming towards her. Someone get me a glass, because I just found me a tall drink of water, Mineta said as he came towards her. Aren't you a charmer? She said. Now tell me where they went, she demanded as she whipped out the knife that she took from your drawer. You both were now running from the horses and the guards above you. Toga just nearly dodged an arrow. Who's that? You asked. Well, let's just say that he doesn't like me, she said, helping you with your hair. Then she had to dodge rocks because of the strange horse. You looked at her. He doesn't like me either. Then a spear thrown by Aizawa. And them? He yelled. Let's just assume that no one here likes me. She hurried, and you both dove into an underground cave. Okay, so you have a lot of people after you, huh? You asked after about 10 minutes of wandering around. Yep, she said, but it sounded like she didn't want to explain any further. You two made it to a canyon with a water supply thing that looked pretty old. But you heard from something from behind. Oh, you've gotta be kidding me, Toga groaned. The guards and the horse were behind you, and from the bottom, Baku and Aizawa popped out. Great! Here. You shoved the pan into her arms and slung your hair up so you could swing over. She watched as you did, but then had to whip around to fight off the guards ganging up on her. I've got to get myself one of these, Toga muttered after taking them down. She giggled and got ready when she heard a sword being pointed at her. Her expression dropped when she saw who it was. The horse. Why? She said to nothing. You watched them fight, but then the horse knocked the pan out of Toga's hand. Poor Pan. It looked like she said something to him, but he reacted by making her surrender. You quickly tied your hair to anchor it and then threw the longer part. It wrapped itself around her hand. They both looked at each other when they saw the hair. See ya, she said and let the hair pull her down when you tugged. The horse just stared as she dropped. She was coming up and Baku and Aizawa. So you tugged again so that she could dodge them. But she wasn't paying attention and got hit with a beam. You grimaced a bit, thinking about how much that would hurt. You looked over and saw the horse kicking another beam to make the dam burst. And to make a bridge for himself. He charted his way over, and you looked at Toga, who made her way up and was telling you to jump. You listened and jumped before the horse could grab you. You got on your feet and ran when Bakugo and Aizawa started coming after you. Toga sort of toppled over some of the dam system, but ran over to help you with your hair. But then the dam gave out. Fantastic. You two ran as fast as you could before the rock came down on you. You made it into the mine and Toga quickly grabbed the pan. But when you got into the mine, you noticed that it was slowly flooding. You both started running, but then hit a dead end. Fun! Toga snapped sarcastically. The water was now up to your knees. Toga tried to pry away the rocks, but cut her hand instead. But now it was practically up to your shoulders. Well, we're gonna drown. She hissed, but managed to smile a bit. You started to freak out until you remembered something. I have magic hair. You said out of nowhere. What? I have magic hair. You said a bit louder and looked around. It was getting too dark for you to see, so you turned on your hair. It glowed and you dived to find a loose spot in the rocks. You did, and you tugged the other girl into the water to help you. You both managed to get the rocks loose, and everyone and everything flowed out of it. Once you guys saw an edge, you hopped onto it and you got out. Toga just stayed on the edge, contemplating whatever the heck just happened. They have magic hair, she muttered, and you looked back. And it glows. She muttered again, and this time Shiggy looked at her. Toga, is that why it's so freakishly long? Toga, he said a bit louder. And it's yellow. Toga! You shouted, what? She yelled back. It doesn't just glow. You laughed, squeezing some water out of your hair. You two had now made a fire and you made Toga sit. Okay, whatever you do, don't freak out or scream, you said, holding the hand that got cut and grabbing a lock of your hair that looked like it would be big enough to wrap around it. She swallowed thickly and nodded. When you were done wrapping your hair around her hand, you turned on your hair magic, and let it do its thing. Once the healing hair was done, she looked at her hand and opened her mouth to scream, but... You promised you wouldn't scream? You said quickly and she froze. Shiggy just smirked at her and then looked at you as if telling you to tell her what you just did. My hair is magic, as you've seen. You laughed a bit. But when it's cut, it loses its power and turns to this color. You said, pulling back your hair to reveal a tiny tuft of hair color. Toga looked like she just had an oh moment. I should go get some more firewood, she said quickly before you could ask her anything. Okay, you said, and once she was out of sight, you got up to walk around. You walked into the forest, but still close enough that you could see your fire. Darling, there you are! You heard her voice. You whipped around and saw Emmy coming towards you with her arms open. You instinctively backed up, and she saw. What are you doing all the way out here? Let's go. No. You shot with venom in your voice. No, she repeated. No. You said again, and she left. I see how it is. You think you're too good for me, don't you? She asked, faking her amusement when she really was pissed off. Wait, no, that's not what she cut you off this time. You're walking with a thief into the danger that I told you about, she said. Wait. Don't come crying to me when that friend of yours stabs you in the back and then leaves you to die. She spat, and you tried to say something, but when you looked up, she was gone. You walked shakily back to the fire and sat down thinking about what just happened. After you sat down, Toga came back with the wood. Hey, I got the... What's wrong? She said when she noticed your expression. What? Oh, nothing. You said and quickly wiped away the tears that were welling up. You sure? You said... You two barely said anything else before you went to sleep. You were woken up by a scream. As you shot up, you saw Toga holding on to trying to shake off the horse? You picked up the pan, though you weren't actually going to hit him, it was just to scare him, and ran in between the two. No, stop. Hey. You blocked him when he tried to get around you. He stopped and stared at you. Drop the shoe, he said. Shiggy glared at the horse from your shoulder. He dropped it. Good boy, he said, looking straight at him. What the? How did you? All right. Toga stuttered and he huffed at her. All right, calm down. You reached over to pet him. You're Your name is Dobby, he said as he checked his nameplate. Why are you petting it? Toga asked skeptically. He's not an it, he shot back. Okay, fine. What is he doing here? Toga picked up her bag. Well, he's probably here to take you back to the guards. Yuta answered, still petting Dobby. She glared at him. Fine. The three of you had now traveled all the way to the kingdom. Again, you were running around like a 3-year-old, but you ran into some kids braiding hair. You looked to Toga, and she sighed, but helped you anyway. Do you think you could help? You asked. They looked at the two of you and dropped whatever they were doing to stare at the amount of hair that was now in front of them. One of the kids had long white hair and ruby eyes. The second one had brown hair with a red hat with 2 yellow spikes in the front. And the last two looked like twins because they both had honey brown hair and eyes. We really can? They said, and you nodded. It's kinda in the way. You laughed, and they practically tackled you to braid it. When they were done, they added flowers to your hair, and you thanked them. After walking around and dodging a few guards, you noticed that there were people dancing in the square, and you got all excited and went over to dance too. Toga sighed again and stayed behind, but Dobby pushed her a bit. What? He huffed and nodded towards you. Nah, I'm fine. She tried, but Dobby had absolutely none of it. He pushed her harder this time. Alright, jeez. She hopped into the circle knowing she wouldn't end up dancing with you instantly. You two had fun dancing with the others, and at the very end you ended up together, panting and laughing. It was getting darker and Toga had an idea. She found a small boat and the two of you hopped in. Dobby tried to follow you, but got bribed to stay on the deck. So, why did you... You looked up and saw the lanterns. Yeah. She laughed a little bit. You looked around in awe because you were actually seeing your floating lights. When one was about to hit the water, you reached up and pushed it back in the air. They're kind of cute like this. Wait, what? No, they're not cute. Damn it. Toga thought, but then shook it off. When you got yourself back in the boat, you stared. You noticed her staring. What? You scared her a bit. What? Oh, nothing. She said, and as she said that, there are 2 lanterns that were floating to the two of you. You lit up and reached out and caught it. So did Toga. You grinned like an idiot, and the two of you released the lanterns back in the air again. Thanks for this, Toga, he said, looking at the lanterns. Himiko, she said and caught you confused. Call me Himiko. She smiled, but then looked like she had remembered something. Toga docked the boat onto a small island, grabbed her bag, and said she'd be right back. He waited for about 10 minutes before he started to get worried. She's fine, right? You asked Shiggy and he shrugged. You decided to get out and go look for her. You walked around one of the rocks expecting to see Toga, but you saw two people who you really did not want to see. Aizawa was sharpening his knife and Bakugo was drawing in the sand. Who are you? You asked shakily. What do you want and where's Himiko? Whoa, slow down, kid. One question at a time. Baku said. 1, we're not important. 2, Himiko left you high and dry a long while ago. Aizawa smirked while pointing out to the water. You looked and saw Toga's twin bun steering a boat away. Your heart dropped. And the third question, we want your hair. Bucky said this time and pulled out a bag. You backed up with fear and dodged them, but then tripped. Baku was gonna put the bag over your head, but he was knocked out along with Aizawa. You flinched, and when you opened your eyes, you saw Emmy standing above them with your pan. She dropped the pan and then fell over to hug you. Oh my god, are you okay? She freaked out. Yeah. You started and she helped you up. See, what did I tell you about? Come on, let's go home. She said and you agreed without a second thought. When Toga woke up and fidgeted, she realized that she was tied to the steering wheel of this new boat and also noticed that you weren't there either. She yelled out for you and tried to get free, but failed. Then she noticed that she was heading towards the dock, and there were a solid 8 or 9 guards waiting for her. As she docked, the guards frisked her, and she tried to explain, but they weren't taking shit today. They had pulled her into a cell, which was not helping her anxiety. She paced around and then heard a door open. Come on, Todoroki said. Where exactly? Toga nervously laughed, trying to lighten the mood. He only glared at her and she subconsciously put her hand to her neck. Oh. As they walked up to the thing that they were going to use for the other thing that was about to follow up and do the thing, Dabi came bursting through the door with the pan in his mouth. He knocked out all the guards and kicked Todoroki. He then threw the pan to Toga and then threw her onto his back and ran. She took the pan and fought off the other ones that came. Okay, now to go see Blondie. Dabi looked at her. Yeah, I'm blonde too, but that's not the point. When Toga got to your tower, she quickly found the 2 arrows that she used to climb up the first time and climbed. She practically threw herself inside and saw you change to the floor. You yelled at her to get out, but she didn't listen. And then Emmy was right in front of her. All you heard was a knife meeting flesh and a body hitting the floor. So that's what it feels like. She laughed in pain. Okay, stop. Do whatever the hell you want, just let me heal her just this once and that's it. You begged before she could do anything else. Fine. But only just this thing. Emmy said and unchained you. You kinda stumbled over to Toga. You freaked out at how much blood there was. Hey, she said. Amy? You are pretty much on the verge of tears now. Toga grabbed the shard of mirror that Emmy broke, hugged you, and then slashed all your hair off. Emmy screamed and tried to save the hair that wasn't turning hair color, and she panicked so much that she fell out the window. You gasped, but your shock was taken over by your fear. You started crying now because she wasn't moving. One of your tears fell on her wound, and then a magical splash appeared. It started to glow the same color that your hair did when it was still long. And you thought she would wake up right away, but she didn't. Then you started crying harder. I think I forgot to tell you something. Toga whispered it after about 2 minutes. What? You looked at her. You're really easy to scare. She smirked and you tackled her, kind of. She kissed at your eye and hugged you back. You two heard a neigh, and you helped Toga up and looked out. You both sweat dropped when you saw Doppy and Shiggy stomping at the dust that was Emmy. The 4 of you made it back to the kingdom again, so you could go back to your actual home. When you got there, you saw your real parents on the balcony. They turned around and they gasped. You walked over and they hugged you. Your mom looked to Toga and she thought she had just had to bow, but your mom yanked her into the hug. Of course she was surprised, but reluctantly hugged back anyway. You decided to go out in the square to see what was going on, and there was something. Everyone was celebrating that their lost royal had come back. There were also a few certain people there as well. Hey! Mina yelled. I'm actually a street performer now, she gushed. Oh yeah, Midoriya actually got the night position he wanted, and Kiri's up there playing, and you stopped her before she could get too far. I see. I guess I'll be seeing more of Broccoli then. He laughed. You looked at Kiri and yelled up at him. Hey, sup, Wonder? He said, still playing. He was actually really good. felt something being taken off your head. Give it back. You turned and there was Toga with her hands behind her back, acting all innocent. Whatever do you mean, my respected royal? She bowed a bit. You stuck behind her, but she was too quick. You fell onto her chest. Gimme, he said again. No, she replied. You pecked her on the lips. Please. She sighed. Fine. And she put the crown back on her head. On your head. Mina and Kiri snuck over to you with a curious Killua cat face. I didn't know you two were a thing. Mina smirked. Wow, the royal and the thief, Kiri said this time. You blushed and pushed them both away. Shut up. They only snickered in response.